maybe we could jump a little bit to how do you think about the startups that you invest in when you're thinking about liquidity as an investor? Because I tell a lot of my founders, and I say my founders, just friends that ask for advice, that you often have to be able to put yourself in the shoes of the people that are investing in you and really understand, why are they doing this? What are their expectations? And are you creating that alignment? So I don't mean to step over your full entrepreneurial path, but that might be the next best step for our listeners.
Yeah, and I'm a pretty typical angel investor in that I'm an entrepreneur, I'm an operator that was very fortunate to make some money along the way. And for me, I look at angel investing in a couple different ways. One, it is truly a way that I can give back to the next generation of entrepreneurs, right? Both on the financial side and funding them, as well as bringing, whatever level of expertise I have to hopefully help them. So I look at that as both a privilege and somewhat of a responsibility, actually. So as you said, I've done 55 angel investments and had, lots of unicorns, fortunately, along the way, but I've been pitched 1,000 times to find the 55 that I thought were the best. And by the way, some of them have been zeros. I've had a couple that were 100x, and some of it is luck, but a lot of it really is. The advice there would be to really kind of know your lane. Like I'm a consumer facing early stage tech guy. You know what I mean? So that's where I should be spending most of my time, and finding companies that are in that space, because I can both understand them as I look at these companies, but also I can help them if I make the investment. And the entrepreneur should be seeking out people like that who have an expertise in their area, right? So if you're a consumer person, don't try to go find a bunch of SaaS people or biotech or whatever. Go find people that are going to be value add to your project, your company. So as I look at these companies, I started in angel investing about probably 12 years ago. And a guy who's a good friend of mine, Naval Ravikant, who's a very well-known angel investor, probably one of the best in the world, I would say. Naval got me into angel investing. And he said, you're going to do too many, too fast. Like you need to ease into it. And one of the mistakes that I made early on that he warned me about, and I still did, was I would hear the pitch and I would immediately go into entrepreneur mode and be like, okay, I know exactly what I would do with that idea. And what I learned eventually was, but I'm not the operator here. I'm not the entrepreneur. I'm at best a board member and mostly just really an advisor or mentor to the company. I can help guide them, but that CEO, that entrepreneur is going to make the ultimate decision. So I better be aligned with them and not expect that they're going to, listen to all my ideas and execute. So I better really believe that that they have the right idea and that they can do a lot of things. And one of those things is that they can not only have a vision, but they can continue to execute on that vision, which also means that they can attract a great team. Because really, at the end of the day, it's about team first and ideas second. I like to say ideas are easy, execution's hard. So you have to have the best team. And can that entrepreneur attract and retain a great team? So I'm looking at that. I'm looking at their co-founders. Who have you already attracted in? And by the way, if you're not a tech person, you better have a great CTO sitting right next to you and you guys are aligned, because I need to see that too. That's really important. And the other thing many things, but another thing that I think about is TAM, the total addressable market, because I need to look at that for a couple reasons. One, I need to think about, if I'm usually in the seed round and I'm thinking ahead to the Series A investor, this is something I learned later on, I need to make sure that Series A investor is also going to see this is the right entrepreneur and the TAM is really big and that they're going to want to invest, because otherwise, if they don't invest, it's probably going to end up being a very small exit. And then that probably wasn't worth my time to get in there and pick this, this is my 55 companies out of 1,000, right? I got to pick the ones that I think are going to be the winners. And then when I look at the winners, what usually happens when companies are coming in to disrupt an existing industry, 80 to 85% of the value accrues to the number one disruptor, and then another 10 to 15% to number two, And then number three, and the rest of the long tail share the other 5%. So even if you had the right sector and the right timing, if you pick number two, you probably got your money back or maybe a small return. If you pick number three, the bronze medal, you are going to lose your money. You've got to figure out who's number one. And that means you've got to talk to pretty much everyone in the sector. And then you can start to kind of compare why that team is going to be better than any of the other teams. As an entrepreneur, you have to understand all of that. Why am I the best in the field? What is the moat I've created? What is the special sauce I have? What is the IP that I have, the experience? What is it that if you said, hey, Rick, I'm the best at this and you need to invest. And if I say, you know what, Todd, I met 5 other companies in the last month that do exactly what you're talking about. Why are you better? You better have an answer, a really good answer to convince me and other people that could back you why you truly are the best. And if you don't have that answer, maybe you shouldn't be in the game.
Yeah. When all of that is so familiar to me because entrepreneurs come to me, why am I not getting funded? And they don't realize that you're looking at hundreds of opportunities and scrutinizing them in this way, right? If you're not an investor, not an experienced investor, you don't have that perspective. So I think that's helpful for everybody to hear.